Hi there guys, welcome back to Vlogmas Pagan Edition second video. I know, as I mentioned in the last one, that this isn't a typical Vlogmas video for a couple different reasons. One being that it is pagan rather than typical Christian Christmas, and the other being that it is not a daily vlog, it is a weekly vlog instead. And before we go too far into tonight's topic, I did want to touch on something involving the fact that people are still doing Vlogmas videos, and some people are still trying to punch them on a daily basis, which that's fine. If you're able to come up with content on a daily basis from your home, go ahead and put out as often as you want to put it out, because there is a way to do that. You can discuss what the season means to you. You can discuss how you're going to celebrate this year. You can show people how you decide to decorate your home or the outside of your home to still keep in a festive mood this year. I mean, there's plenty that you can do from your house. And the reason I wanted to touch on this really quick is that a few of the bigger vloggers have taken it upon themselves to go out to complete some of their Vlogmas videos, and there's just no reason for it. It's very out of touch. It is dangerous mentality to have. It's dangerous to show people that that's acceptable right now. And please just understand that as far as your Vlogmas goes this year, we're all doing it differently. You're not alone in this. Everybody has to kind of adjust their content to make it so it's out of their home or off their porch or wherever you are. And the people who have been there for you since the beginning, the people who really have your back and are true, real, good subscribers are going to stay with you even if your content has had to change a little bit. In part, they're here for you as a person. If they've stayed here, they like you. So just do what is safe for you, do what is safe for the people around you, so that we can end everything that's been going on in 2020. That aside, now we can actually delve into tonight's topic, which is cost effectively gathering materials for your winter solstice celebration, because even outside of 2020, a lot of witches in the world do not have access to a lot of stuff for their craft. And as beautiful as some of these Tumblr aesthetic photos of and ritual items and spell casting in the woods can be, that is just what I said. It's an aesthetic. It was posed that way for a photo. The creator was aware of the fact that they were planning on putting it online for people to see, so they made it the best it possibly could have been. Now, they might have whatever they're working on look that way every day, but typically speaking, almost no witches you talk to are going to have this filled altar every single day. Sometimes you're going to be busy and you'll miss a day that you would have set it up for a certain Sabbath or something, or you forget a certain candle color or something. And in other cases, some people just can't afford to have a bunch of stuff. They can't afford it, or there are no pagan stores near them and shipping is too expensive. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of witches don't have many material items for their craft. And the most important thing to remember, if you're getting kind of down on yourself because you're like, I love the winter solstice, I love how everything looks, I love the celebration, I love what it means, and I feel really bad about the fact that I can't have this amazing, beautiful altar for celebrating my deities, or I can't have these ritual items to perform when I want to perform. Don't beat yourself up, because in witchcraft, no matter what path you have chosen for yourself or what path has chosen you, intent is always the most important thing. It doesn't matter how many candles you have or what colors they are. It doesn't matter what ritual oils you may or may not have. It doesn't matter whether or not you have a cartload of herbs in your house. What matters is your intent, as in the reason why you want to perform a ritual in the first place. You can have a completely full cornucopia of an altar. You can have 4 herb jars that you filled from things you bought at the dollar store, and you can have nothing at all, and you're just as much a witch regardless. And I firmly believe, and always have believed, that if it's the only thing you can do, it's perfectly acceptable and it works to simply just go through your house chanting something every day. Chant it with intent from your whole heart, from your whole spirit. Know and understand why you are chanting whatever you are choosing to chant today. And you will still have whatever you need manifest for you because your intent is that clear and that strong. So now that we've gotten past the whole intent aspect of things, let's talk about if you have no money or very little money and you still do desperately want to have something for winter solstice. Here's what you can do. So let's talk first about deities or symbols that you can use. So as we mentioned in the previous video, the winter solstice marks the return of the sun. So as a result, most people will turn to sun deities. So what you can do to celebrate the return of the sun is just think about what branch of witchcraft is closest to you, and think about what deities are closest to you that are somehow involved in the sun. Some examples can be gods like Ra or Lu or Balder or the Green Man, and you can just kind of celebrate with them. If you don't have statuary of them, don't worry about it. I don't think they care about how many statues you have. They just care that you want to spend that day celebrating them. They love all of that worship and that celebration. So what you can do instead of worrying about statues is you can either meditate and envision them being there with you while you're meditating and chanting whatever you need to chant for that day. Or you can, if you have any, paper and pens, you can draw a little sketch of them. You don't have to be a fantastic artist. Again, just like with the statues, they're not concerned with whether or not you're Michelangelo. They just care about your intent and the fact that you're giving it your best shot right now. So just worry about things like that. Just try sketching your deity. Try just communicating with them through meditation and visualizing them in your third eye. And you don't have to do this part, but I personally choose to, since it's, the return of the sun, it's also the departure, in a way, of darkness. So I not only celebrate with sun deities, I also celebrate with deities that are directly related to darkness. So deities like Cernunnos or the Holly King or Hela. The one that most people tend to shy away from or be a little bit scared of, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, in witchcraft, darkness is not necessarily a bad thing. You need to embrace the darkness to fully appreciate the light sometimes. I let them know that I understand that everything in the world needs to exist in some form of balance. So I find them to be just as important as the sun deities that I'm about to celebrate. So I sit there and I think, okay, with my, chosen dark deities, what haven't I done very well this year? What are some things I can improve on in my life? And your ritual can be simply that. You don't have to do some, hour-long thing. You can just sit there and consider some of the things that you would prefer to do a little bit better. And this is where things can get kind of hard for people. A good one is think of the worst point of this year for you, something you didn't handle very well, something that got you down and made you maybe make a mistake you wish you hadn't made. Well, in the coming year, with the return of the sun and the light and good things, how can you rectify that? If it caused you to completely lose someone who is no longer in your life, that was potentially meant to be, and while you may not be able to patch things up with that person now, you can still rectify it in a way by meeting someone new and treating them a little bit better than that last person. Same, with maybe the pandemic has made it so you haven't communicated as much with your family as you should have, or your friends as you should have, and set up a schedule for yourself. Say, okay, I messed up this year. I let it get in my head. I haven't kept in touch with people. I need to do a little bit better keeping up with people and making sure that they're doing well. So every Wednesday at 3 p.m., I'm going to put out, mass hellos to people. If they answer, cool. And if they don't, that's also cool. And once you're done with whatever darker, rituals you want to complete, this is when you can celebrate the sun. And just as how I mentioned, you can sketch sun deities if you want, you can even just sketch a picture of the sun or find something that represents the sun to you, a lamp, a candle you may have, anything that creates some kind of light. Even if you're just sitting underneath the light in your current room, that's fine. And with them, you're going to think of the more joyful things, the things that are involved in light and happiness and new life springing up and everything. So you're going to, be thankful, show your thanks to them, always show your thanks to any deities you work with, of course. And you can do things like tell them that you are appreciative of these amazing things that came through. No matter how horrible a year is, there's always something good that happened. So really think about it. Think about the really positive things, even if it was just something as simple as you got to watch a new movie with your partner and it gave you the laugh you really needed this year. And thank you for, allowing that little bit of light into my life. It doesn't necessarily have to be something grand. People get this idea that, it's only a sign that my deities are looking out for me if it's some huge thing like winning the lottery. And it's like, no, like if you're having a day where you can't even get out of bed, you're just crying and feeling horrible, and something just happens to make you laugh, you're being taken care of in some way or another, and it's good to appreciate that and show thanks for it. I did mention that you can do things like drawings and finding some source of light, or you can even find some form of darkness, like turning out the lights for the dark deities as far as items for your altar. But some other things you can do is you can do homemade snow to say, goodbye to the cold and dark, the sun is coming back, by just getting some ice and crushing it up, saying this is your snow. That's something that you can do for free, because as long as you have a functional freezer and some tap water, you're good to go there. So that's an easy one. Again, a lamp for, a light source or something if you don't have candles. And some more drawings you can do could be some of the animal correspondences are things like deer, especially a stag, goats, cows, horses, animals that used to be a sacrifice that are now just kind of represented as we kind of revere them on this night. And at least that's how I do it. Like, I choose to find animals that used to be a big sacrifice way back in the day, and I revere them instead. Say, thank you for your sacrifice. I'm sorry that, this happened to you, and I'm going to celebrate you tonight. So you don't have to lose your life around me. We can be friends. Some other cheap or free items that you could just potentially find in your yard or at the dollar store are cinnamon. Cinnamon is always used during the winter solstice. Although, yeah, you probably won't find it in your backyard. I have found cinnamon in the grocery store for around $2, which is generally not too bad. And if you get cinnamon sticks, you can kind of save them, just crack a little piece off for each ritual you need them for. Or you can get ground cinnamon, because again, it's all about intent. If it's cheaper to get the ground cinnamon, that's all you can afford, don't worry about it, just get the ground cinnamon. Something that you may be able to find in your backyard are any kind of evergreen branches. Just go out, find them, ask permission from, the forest or the trees to gather them. And once it feels that you have some kind of affirmation, just pick them up and, thank them for allowing you to take them and put them on your altar. And if you're new to witchcraft and you get a little confused when I say things like wait for the trees to give you permission to pick up the fallen branches, basically what you do is you just have to wait a minute, shut off your mind, and just, listen to what's around you. You will get some kind of positive feeling if the answer is yes. If the tree is okay with you gathering its branches, you will get some kind of either happy feeling or, like I said, some kind of affirmation that feels like something saying yes. You might hear the word yes either, in your mind or actually audibly hear it yourself. You will experience something. You just have to, shut your brain off and just listen to what is going on around you instead. Something else you can potentially find for free are oak leaves, and although it is a leaf instead of a branch, still do that, asking permission. Always ask permission no matter what it is, even if it's just a rock. It's just a sign of reverence, and the forest definitely appreciates it. And you can also gather ashes of any kind that you can find. So if you had, a campfire over the past summer or something and there's still some ashes left in it, you can scoop some of those up to represent, like everything that has kind of died off for winter. And then you also have some of the more positive things for the sun returning. And you can also, of course, use things like cloves. Just kind of think about what scents, what sights, what feelings represent the winter solstice to you, and just, you can always find some way to gather something. So I know I haven't gone too far yet into actual specific rituals. I'm basically trying to film these videos in some kind of chronological order as for what I do myself. So, last week's video was kind of more about just what it represents, thinking about what this season represents to me and why I even feel the need to celebrate in the first place. Then this week is more for gathering the items that will be necessary for me to do my rituals. And then next week is going to be planning for the rituals. So writing out whatever spell I want to do or spells, deciding, how I'm going to place things in my ritual space. That's the kind of thing we're going to be talking about next week. And I know that it's been a while besides last week since I got to do these kind of witchy vlogs and stuff. And I do love witchy content a lot, but just like with the goth content, there's only so much you can talk about before you've kind of exhausted everything. So I'm hoping that these videos have been both entertaining and educational for you. If you've got any questions and you don't see me answering in the comments, you're always free to inbox me on Instagram. It's the same name as here. And once again, this year's been tough on me, just as it has with everybody. My partner and I are actually in the process of finishing up a comic book. We do have multiple comic book series that we work on, and the current one is a retelling of Faust as a queer woman. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's also steampunk, so if that's something you think you'll be interested in, take a peek at firesphere.org or Firesphere Media on Facebook. We are always there to answer any questions you may have, and we appreciate all of your love and support. And as always, do something that makes you happy today, no matter what anyone else thinks about it, and I will see all of you again this time next week. What? Excuse you. Interrupting Pooh. Interrupting Pooh says what? Interrupting Pooh says what?